Hey, this is Ryan Phillips here, and this is my last game from the Thursday night Masters tournament at the Marshall Chess Club. So I had 2.5 out of 3 points going into the last round. Just had beaten an international master, Yuri Lapshan, and I started to realize, like, oh man, I'm doing pretty good in this tournament. So I was hoping I could finish strong, but I knew it wasn't going to be easy since I had to play an FM who was rated over 2,300 in the last round. Um, it's really funny. To be honest with you, I wasn't honestly that excited over with this win. Prior to the third round game where I beat the international master, this would have been the highest rated player I ever beat. So I think just after that game and the fact that my opponent played honestly really poorly in this game didn't make me like particularly excited. He just played a bad game. He hung a piece on like the 11th move, and I actually played pretty poorly after that. Also, I think as I almost gave away the victory, even being a piece up. So anyway, I wasn't really happy as far as this particular game. I was happy, of course, with my staying in the tournament. 3.5 out of 4 most weeks would have tied me for first. Unfortunately, this particular week someone scored 4 out of 4, which is not really much I could do about that. But yeah, I was happy, of course, that I got the under 2100 prize for the tournament. I think by like a full point, maybe at least a half a point, of course. But I think I could have. I'm not really sure. I have to look at the cross sheet again, but I think I might have scored first in that section by a full point, and I tied for second overall in the tournament, which was cool. I was wondering if there's anyone that knew about prize funds. Not that I should, no, not that I'm trying to complain about money or anything like that. I don't. It's not that important to me. But what is important is kind of It seemed like illogical that I didn't get like some of the tied for second prize money. I guess the rule is, according to the person I spoke with, that you get whatever prize fund is bigger. But I think the way I thought about it, so there was a four-way tie for second. I thought they should have split that prize money in 4 ways, and I should have gotten a portion of that, and I also should have gotten the under 2100 prize fund in full since I won that. I think that's how it should work, in my personal opinion. So I'll have to look into the USCF rules on that. Again, I hope it doesn't come across like I'm complaining about money. It was only like $30. I'm not, not trying to diminish the value of $30. I understand that, $30 is $30, but I'm just trying to get across. I'm not playing chess for the money. I really play because I enjoy it, and I think it'd be pretty foolish if I was just playing chess for money, since there's not really that much money in chess, unless you're one of the very top players in the world, which I don't have any illusions of getting to that point. But at the same time, it would be nice if I feel like if the prize fund would have been given out the way I think makes the most sense, that would have been great as well. So anyway, though, so here's the game. I had the black pieces. Then we played basically a London system. So knight f3, g6, bishop f4, bishop g7, e3, castle, knight b d7. So I think we're right in the London system. Here I was really happy. I saw some videos with GM Sam Shankland, and he's always stressing that d5 in these positions is a big mistake. The square that black should be fighting for is e5. So when I played, like, for example, in the game against David Lucky, David was smart to wait for me to play d5 before playing bishop f4. I mean, if I knew for sure that my opponent was going to play bishop f4, which obviously I do not know that, then I would have played d6 against David Lucky. Because d6 is just a much better move here. I can fight for the e5 square. I can even try for c5. And also, it's just much better. It kind of blocks the mobility of this bishop on f4. So for that reason, I don't particularly care for this system, although Gata Kamsky would probably disagree with me, and I think you should listen to him over me every single time. But I just, Sam Shankland just really explained how to play against these positions very well. And he said basically d6 and try to fight for the e5 square is kind of the way to go. So playing a move like d5 is a big mistake, since I won't be able to fight for the e5 square after that. So d6, so normally I play a Grunfeld. I think everyone knows that, that follows my videos. That's listened to my commentary of the Chris Reynolds-John Trivet match. But I feel very comfortable in this type of position. Also, I think because White has not chosen anywhere near the sharpest setup against the King's Indian defense, so I don't have to really know any like theoretical lines, for example, to play this move. Just play normal chess and actually get a fine position. So we saw h3. And then here I think I played a move that I don't know, I think it's a controversial move. I wanted to play knight c6, but I was really worried about d5. Okay, Why was I worried about d5? I could just take. I think I was worried about c4 and then d5 maybe. But I guess I'd play e5 first. Can I play that? I don't think I can play e5. I don't know, maybe I can. So this is probably a good line to know. I don't know, I don't particularly like this for black though. So after c4, what would be another alternative? Alright, so say rook e8, and now d5. I don't know, this just looks it looks kind of tricky to me. I guess I could play knight a6 with the idea going to c5. I don't know if b4, I don't know, maybe I go knight a6, knight c5, knight even e4 maybe. I don't know, I didn't really care for this. So I played a different move here. I played knight to d7, which I'm kind of curious what kind of evaluation the computer will give for this move. So not too good. But my idea is just to try to play e5 immediately. Okay, so on second thought, it's okay. So my idea is basically just to go right ahead with e5 and see what happens. So here my opponent played bishop e2, and I just went ahead with e5. So here we saw bishop h2, and now I felt real comfortable playing knight c6 because if d5, I could bring the knight back to e7, which was a luxury I didn't have before. And this position I'm vaguely familiar with, and I think just like moves like f5 and starting my kingside attack, just like a regular king's Indian defense, are pretty okay. Anyway, I played knight c6, and my opponent played a typical London move with c3. And then here I probably played again a little too aggressively, I'm not sure, but I think it kind of fits into my style. I just went with f5 here. So I'm basically just going for the kingside attack immediately and kind of see what my opponent plans on doing. But I think in retrospect this move probably is a little too aggressive. I'm not sure. So here after f5, my opponent moved their bishop again on bishop c4 check, and I played king h8, which I believe was basically forced. d5, I would just take. And then here my opponent played a shockingly bad move, which I really couldn't believe my eyes. A 2300 player is not supposed to make this move, so I played knight g5. And after this move, I was in shock. I basically took about a minute and 15 seconds just to make sure I could take this and there wasn't some kind of trap I was missing. I was really thankful for my days helping out at Cimarron though, where they hung quite a few pieces, so at least my ability to spot a hung piece is intact. So yeah, I was just under shock, so I took. And I was half expecting my opponent to resign here, but they did not, which I guess I can't be too critical of since I ended up in the game in 10 rapid at the National Open. I dropped the queen and kept playing, and then actually ended up winning the game to get tied for first in my section in that tournament as well. So yeah, but actually in this position, I think the position where I was down to queen was actually a better chance for me to come back than this position for my opponent, just based on the fact my pieces were extremely active in that game. But in this position, I don't think my opponent has really any compensation for the piece. So here they played knight f3, and I can take on g2, but this looked a little risky to me. So basically, if I take rook g1, forced to take on h3, I don't know. It seemed unnecessary for me to kind of go into this. I thought rook g3, I don't know, queen h. So I guess there's probably nothing here for my opponent, but it still seemed unnecessary to kind of go into this, a lot of these kind of complications. So after knight f3, I just figured I'd play simple with just queen back to e7, and just try to grind the game away here since I'm up a whole piece here. So I figured this shouldn't be too complicated. Here my opponent played h4, and the idea is to play the knight into g5 and knight f7 check. So here I played knight b6, and if bishop b3, I think I was going to play knight to a5. I think that was my idea. My opponent actually played bishop e2, and here I pressed ahead with e4, and on knight g5 I can just play h6, and I think this should be fine. So my opponent saw this and played knight d2, so I decided to take here on h4, as this bishop is pretty well pinned. There's no checks against my king, so I had to look for that. So basically this bishop just can't move, or I take the rook on h1. So here we saw queen c2, and I think here I probably played a little passively with queen back to e7. I mean, the bishop is still pinned, so I could have waited another move, but played it back to e7 immediately. And then here we saw castle queenside. So basically the only thing I have to worry about is this h7 square. The rooks might double on the h-file and hit this h7 pawn. That's really the only thing I was really worried about. So here I played bishop e6. I thought I might need to bring this bishop back to g8 perhaps. Probably overly cautious, but I didn't really want to take any chances, so I thought bishop e6 was a logical move here. And I don't have to worry about any kind of d5 forks at the moment. And on c4 I could play d5 myself, which is something I want to play anyway, and that would be good for me. So here we saw bishop g3. And then I decided I should go for a kingside attack myself with a5. So we saw c4 here. And here I probably knight b4 is fine, but I ended up playing d5, which I think is also good. And here we saw c5. And I played knight to b4 here. Queen b1. And here I played knight to c4, so probably a little bit more aggressive than the computer would have liked, but I thought this was fine. So I took on d2. King takes. And I just, I think I dropped the knight back to c6. So, sorry if I'm not really providing too much comments in this game. I'm not really sure what I should be talking about exactly. My opponent's really just down a piece, and I don't really see what they have going for them as in the form of compensation. So here we saw queen c2. And then I found this nice move f4. So basically the idea is I'm just trying to be able to take this d5 pawn. So say bishop takes, I was going to play, rook takes f4 looks good, but I was actually going to just play knight takes d4 immediately. And if the pawn takes, I'm just going to win the bishop. So that's fine. And then if e takes f4, then I can play knight takes d5 immediately. So after f4, my opponent played bishop h2. And I took here. I think I missed something very good at some point, so I'm sure the computer will help me spot this. F takes. And yeah, I wanted to play queen g5. I'm not sure why I chickened out of this move. But queen g5 is excellent because now I'm also just starting knight takes d4 due to the pin. So I'm not sure why I chickened out exactly. But I played rook f2, which is also an okay move, but I don't think it's that special. So I think I missed out. Rook f2 is not that great. Bishop g3. And here apparently I missed knight takes d4, which I missed this move. Yeah, I missed this. Alright, so yeah, I should have just played knight takes d4. Unfortunately, I didn't see that. I played rook takes g2. And then here we saw rook h to... I think I just missed a lot of good moves here. I think I was too focused on just simplifying to a one game. Yeah, again, knight takes is good with this queen check idea. Here I just put... I think this is a mistake, but it simplifies the game nicely. So I just played rook takes e2, king takes, bishop g4 check. And then my opponent played king d2. And again, I missed knight takes d4, which, okay, so why is it so great here? Queen g5 check. Oh, and this is, I think my opponent's going to get mated here, huh? Queen e3 check. I'll even have bishop takes d4 here, so this would have been nice to see. Yeah, unfortunately I missed, I felt, I could feel I was missing a lot of good stuff in this position, so this is disappointing to see all this, but what can you do? Bishop takes d1. So, yeah, I think after I got the piece, my idea was just to simplify to a one game, but I'm up a piece, so maybe I should try to knock my opponent out, why not? So yeah, the video stopped at the 15-minute mark, so I'm not sure if you saw the last move, but the last move was queen takes d1. And then here I played rook f8. It seemed logical to grab the only open file on the board. But I made this, you're going to see I almost blew this game, which I'm not too happy about. But queen g4, which I thought was a good attacking move. And then, again, I don't know why this knight takes d4 move is like begging me to play in every position. I don't know, this looks like more, it looks trickier than, I don't know, I don't really see why I should give back the piece though. I guess these passed pawns, of course, are very strong. But I don't think knight takes d4 is the best practical move, probably the best computer move, but anyway, so here I kind of got lost for a plan, and I played a very weak move, I think. So basically, I'm just still in that mindset of let's trade down the game to a win. But when I miss a lot of good resources when I'm playing like that. So my idea of I played knight d8 here to try to trap the queens, which I don't care for this idea. So it kind of gives my opponent more potential than they should get. And here my opponent played rook h1. So basically making it very obvious they're going to try to take on g6, and I totally missed this move, which is really really bad, just terrible. King g8 with the idea of just playing bishop h6. If the h7 pawn gets attacked is probably the best way to go. But here I played a really terrible move with knight e6, and luckily for me it doesn't lose the game, but this is just really pathetic. So queen takes g6. Here played knight g5, guarding the h7 square. So bishop f4 is played here. And then I played bishop f6, so now the queen is protecting the h7 square. So if white takes on g5, I won't get mated after I take back, since I have the queen. So I mean, we could see a variation like this, which wasn't played in the game, which does absolutely nothing for my opponent. But we could have seen something like this. And there's really nothing to fear. I'm up a whole rook here, so I don't have anything to worry about as far as that. So after I found bishop f6, I felt pretty comfortable again. I could relax, but still I was pretty disappointed that I allowed queen takes g6. There's just no reason for that. So here we saw rook h5. And here I just played rook g8, but knight f3 check probably looks a little better. And then I thought queen h6 was unplayable on behalf of. I thought I could play rook g6 here. I don't know. No, I don't know why I keep missing this silly pin. This is ridiculous. I don't think. Was I gonna play? I hope that would have been really bad. What was I planning on playing after queen h6? I think it was rook g6, or I think I was also planning on playing queen to g7. Can I play that? I think I was planning on playing queen to g7. I hope at least. I really hope I wasn't going to play rook g6. That would have been, that would have put a damper on the evening, to say the least. But anyway, I wasn't expecting my opponent to play queen h6. I thought they were going to play queen f5, which they did. And then here I played knight f3 check. And then my opponent basically played the worst move on the board, which I was happy to see. They played queen to c3, or king to c3. My apologies. And here I was very happy. I played queen takes c5 check. I'm exploiting the pin on this a1 h8 diagonal. And here my opponent resigned, as they're going to get mated next move. After queen b3, I have queen c4 checkmate. So yeah, I was really happy to win this game, although I don't think either of us played particularly well. I guess my opponent played much worse than I played, and much worse than their rating would indicate they normally play. But I also didn't feel like I played particularly well this game either. But it was good enough to win, so I was happy, and good enough to tie for second overall. I was really hoping that no one would score 4 points, of course. But actually, even if I did tie for first, I probably would have only gotten the under 2100 section prize money, which really baffles me that the class prizes are that big that it actually would have gotten more money at winning that than tying for first, just because I think it would have been like a 5-way tie for first place. I think first place was like 250, and they're only giving out 2 prizes in the open section, which second place was like 125. So it would have been like a five-way split of 375, which would have been less than what the under 2100 prize which was $119. So I just think that whole thing doesn't really make sense the way they do that. I mean, I think you should get a split of all the of everything that you qualify for and they should add them together. But I don't know, maybe that's just me being greedy. I'm not, but that seems to make the most sense to me. Because I mean, I did earn the tie for second place, as well in the tournament. But anyway, so afterwards, I was actually really emotional. I was surprised I got so emotional. I think I lost perspective on everything. One, being in New York City, I always feel like if you don't really know anyone in New York City, which I don't really know too many people there anymore, it can be a really like lonely place to be. So for one, I was definitely like feeling that when I was like walking the streets after the game. Just because I just wanted someone to celebrate with. I was like kept wishing that like my family could be there or some people from the chess club in Vegas. Just anybody, grab a drink or something. So it's kind of like emotional, like just being alone. And then I think I also like kind of lost perspective. Just I started thinking about like all the like great players that played at the Marshall Chess Club, and I don't know. It felt like I was kind of like tied to history in some ways, and I don't know. Maybe it was a fine to get emotional at that moment, but I felt like I kind of was like losing perspective a little bit, like I had won like an international tournament or something. But I guess for me, this is probably like the closest I'll come to that in my chess career. So, but for whatever reason, I just kind of like lost. I just was like extremely emotional, kind of like lost control a little bit of as far as like keeping things in perspective, which doesn't happen to me that frequently, I don't think. And I don't know, I just kind of like reminisced about all like the things that kind of occurred to me over my life in New York City, which is a lot of like important things that have happened to me, like both positively and negatively. I've kind of had like a lot of major life experiences there, heartbreak, finding love, stuff like that, all kinds of like those kind of, experiences that kind of define your life. And I think just the fact that I was all alone magnified all that, because I really didn't have anyone to talk to. All I could do was kind of like think about things, and I also was, of course, a little bit on top of the world, seeing how like good my tournament performance was. So I don't know, it just made like for a very emotional evening, and I was actually planning on going to like a bar or something, getting a few drinks, just to kind of celebrate. But I don't know, I just felt like I don't know, I think the drinks were kind of expensive on one hand, and then secondly, I just didn't seem like the best idea just to be drinking by myself. So I decided, kind of take the train back to Long Island where I was staying at, and kind of tell my family what had occurred and see if hopefully they would be happy for me, which they of course were. But yeah, the whole thing was just very emotional for me, and to have like this kind of performance at the Marshall Chess Club, it really did mean quite a bit to me. I think I kind of honed my game a lot, and I want to be clear. I'm not like, if I won a major tournament in Las Vegas, I would feel the same exact way. I've also had like lots of memorable experiences in Las Vegas, more so than New York, of course. I've spent a lot more time here, considerably more time. But just something, I was born in New York, and there's just something special about me winning, or not winning, but having a very good performance at the Marshall Chess Club, which I think I'll always remember. And, it's very likely that this will be my best ever tournament result as far as like performance rating. Maybe not prize money, of course. Hopefully we'll win more than $119 in the future. But just as far as like, the level of competition I beat and the way I played, especially in the second round, and even the third round of the tournament, my second game, and even the first game I played, which was in the second round against Sarah Asherman, I feel like I played a nice game. I think this will be something I hopefully remember for a long time, and it's always nice when you have like positive memories that you could recall on, because speaking strictly from a chess perspective, I'm sure in the future I'll have some negative experiences again as far as my results, and it's important that you have something positive to draw on during those times to say, okay, I might not be playing my best, or even my opponents might be playing really well, but at some point I was able to win some games. And I think that's important when your confidence gets low, which your confidence varies in life, I've discovered. So when I have like kind of those tougher tournaments, it'll be nice to have an experience like this to draw on to kind of get me back to playing inspired chess again. So anyway, I appreciate everyone watching these videos. This was a very exciting tournament for me, as you could probably tell, and I'm glad to be able to share it with everyone that has been supportive of my videos over the last several months. So I really appreciate it, and I hope you enjoyed the videos. This is Ryan Phillips signing off here, and I really appreciate it. Thank you.